How to fix 4 out of 5 speed and connectivity problems with Starlink. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. It's cold out here, guys. I love that smokiness of the lap song. It is so good. It's like sitting next to a campfire. I love it. If you like smoky, this fireside is what you want. This is so good. So good. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea or maybe a cup of coffee. Or, depends on part of the planet you're on, maybe something harder. Right, guys? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Someone said that once. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about how to fix 4 out of 5 problems that we see with Starlink. That is connectivity as well as speed problems. Now, this information was derived right from SpaceX themselves, so I'm giving it to you just in case you don't know. Some of you do, some of you don't, but if you don't, this is going to help you immensely as it helped me. So what I'm going to teach you how to do today, you will need to do every once in a while, maybe every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every time you end up with some type of problem with Starlink. This is going to mitigate that. I promise you. Now, before we get into this, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out over at JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. You can get 10 tips to making tax sharp images for free. Also, the prologue to this book right here, How to Create a Digital Fort Knox, backing up your digital life. We know we have to back up our digital lives, especially today where we're producing so much data. Anyways, grab that also for free. Go to JCristina.com/books. So there are a few issues that arise with Starlink. These problems can be seen by simply going to the Starlink application and then clicking on statistics. Now, in comparison to other internet companies like Comcast or AT&T or any of the fiber companies, any of them, they don't really give you exact statistics of outages, period. They kind of shadow everything. The only way for you to know that there is a problem is to run a ping test, for example. If you don't know what a ping test is, basically you can do it on a Linux machine, on Windows, or on any type of Mac, and you're simply doing ping to a specific router, a specific location. So, for example, if you want to ping Google, you could do ping 8.8.8.8, that is their DNS server, and see how many milliseconds it takes to get that ping back. Think of it as like ping, pong, ping, pong. You ping to the server, and then the server pongs back. Let's just say that's kind of how it works. And then it'll show you how many milliseconds it takes to get that back, right? And if you run a ping test continuously, let's say for a day straight, you'll see where all of these outages happen, where your system says ping, and there is no damn pong. So you know that there was an outage for that period of time. Well, you don't have to do that with Starlink. You go into their application, head over into statistics, and it tells you exactly what is going on. So if you are out for a minute or if you're out for 2 seconds, it's going to show you the exact time when this outage occurred, which I really appreciate. Once again, no other company does that. So in the statistics page, you'll see 5 different types of outages that I've seen so far. Number 1, you'll see network issues. Number 2, no satellites. Number 3, unknown. What the hell's going on? Don't know. And 4, you'll see no signal received. And finally, obstructions. Now, if you get a lot of obstructions, well, I can't help you. No. If you get a lot of obstructions, what this simply means is that there is something blocking your Mr. Bevel, or my Mr. Bevel, your Starlink, all right, your dish. And if something is blocking it, you'll be able to see it simply by going over to visibility. The visibility tab will show you a 360-degree area around that dish. With this graphic, you will see blue area, which is clear sky, and then red dots or red areas where there is obstructions. So anywhere that there is an obstruction, you'll need to deal with it. So if you look at the map, it'll say north, south, east, and west. If you go to your Mr. Bevel or your Starlink and look out, let's say to the north, if that is where you're having an obstruction, you'll be able to see what that obstruction is. Now, in most cases, the obstruction is some type of tree or a branch or whatnot. And in fair weather, you have no obstructions at all. And then when the weather gets a little bit bad and the wind picks up, what happens? The branch starts swaying back and forth, hence an obstruction. So take a look at that, where those red zones are, and then this way you can mitigate those obstructions. Now, if it's a building that's obstructing your Mr. Beveled, there's really nothing that you can do besides move the dish. Move it to a location that can see the entire sky unobstructed. All right, so those are the things that you can do. For me, I had a couple of issues with some tree branches swaying. I cut those down, and now my sky is 100% blue. No obstructions at all, and I never get obstruction errors anymore on my statistics page, which is nice. But I still get the other 4 errors, and this is what this video will help you to correct. So what do these 4 other issues represent? Well, number 1, you have network issues. Basically, that means that the network or the line between you and the ground station, Starlink's ground station, is having some type of connectivity problem, error, or whatnot. Then you have an issue called no satellites. That basically means that there's no satellites in your area. That constellation that's constantly moving around is not near you at that moment, so you don't have a satellite to use. It's missing. Now, it could be missing for 2 seconds. It could be missing for 2 minutes. It depends on what part of the planet you're on or what area or time zone you're in. All right. So that would be issue number 2. Number 3 is unknown. That basically means we don't know what the hell's going on. Deal with it. Yeah, that's kind of what it means. There is no real information on unknown. It just is unknown. There's just an error. And hopefully they fix it. Now, number 4, you have no signal received. That's basically, once again, a communication error. That communication, though, is from your Starlink up to the satellite, and there's some type of issue, some type of error. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. It could be a sun flare. Who the hell knows? But there are reasons. Now, what you want to know, of course, is how the hell to fix these issues, right? Well, you can't. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You've went through all of this video already. Yes, you can. You can. I got this information from the guys over at Starlink at SpaceX, and this is how you do it. All right. Bear in mind, Starlink is brand new. It just came out of beta. So there's a lot of things that are going on. They're fixing firmware. There's new firmware. There's updates to the firmware. There's additional satellites that are being launched up into orbit continuously. Just last week, I think there was another 50 or 60 satellites that went up. That are now probably by this time in operation. So there's constantly this churn. It's a new system. And so there's going to be a lot of changing going on. And what they told me over at SpaceX or at Starlink is basically if you have these problems on an ongoing basis, the best thing that you can do is to reset your router to factory settings and to start again. And while this is extremely easy if you have one of the SpaceX Starlink Gen 1s, because if you go to the bottom of your Gen 1 router, you'll see a little button. If you hold that button in for about 15 seconds, the light will flash, and guess what? It will reset that router to factory settings. You're all good. Well, what the hell happens to us that are using Gen 2 units, right? So here's the trick. This is what you need to do. You need to do the hokey pokey. What? What the f***? No, you don't need to do that. What you need to do is simply unplug and plug back in your Starlink router 3 times very quickly. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. Yeah, it doesn't sound right.
You always left me satisfied and smiling, so.
That's what she said.
Something like that. In and out 3 times very quickly. Okay, that's what you need to do. Now, for me, I don't like this method of pulling this thing in and out 3 times because it does have a weather sealing on it. It forms like suction in there. It is I believe a USB-C, whatever it is, proprietary, whatever it is. You don't want to sit there and go in and like a whole bunch. That's not great. That's not great. So what I would do is put a surge protector on your Starlink router so that you can flip the switch 3 times very quickly without having to pull that cable out of your router. Now, before you do this, they didn't say this, but I like to do this because I'm anal retentive and I want to be safe. I put the unit into stow mode, all right? Stow away or whatever they call it. Putting it into stowed mode basically moves the unit to a position, locks it off so it doesn't move. All right, this is what I like to do. No matter if you're going to reset your router or if you're going to pull Starlink dish off your roof and move it to a different location, whatever you're going to do, or even clean it, you want to stow that unit so it's locked into place. God forbid you're sitting there cleaning it or moving it and it decides to now follow the constellation that just came by and you're pushing on the motors and breaking the motors as it's trying to move. You don't want that to happen, right? So stow the damn unit before you do this procedure of turning it on and off, on and off, on and off 3 times. Or once again, if you're using the router, before you go and reset the thing, just stow it, all right? You don't have to. I just like to do it. Your miles may vary. Do what you like. So this works out for me, and it's worked out every single time. So once your router is reset to factory settings and it reboots after a minute or 2, you will see that your dish will then retrack the constellation. It will find the satellites and then focus on them. Now, just like when you first installed your Starlink, you're going to connect to the Starlink Wi-Fi and then with your computer log into the unit. At that point, you're going to go from the very beginning and set up your passwords, your SSID or the name of your Wi-Fi networks, so on and so forth, and that's it. You are done. It is 100% reset, and if there is anything that it needed to download, any type of updates or anything that it needed to do, it has done it. At this point, you can pull up your Starlink application and go into statistics, and you'll see that the unit was rebooted from scratch and there's no errors as of yet. If you go over to visibility, there will be no information. It takes about 12 hours for it to gather all of the visibility information. Hopefully, you've taken care of any of obstructions at this point, and you're not going to have any red areas. It'll be all blue skies on that graphical representation of any obstructions. Now, keep watching those network errors and see if it lessens. For me, my network errors, it didn't matter which one it was, but literally all of them. It could be network issues, no satellites, unknown, the no signal received, all this nonsense. Of course, obstructions is not in that. But all 4 of those lessened by 50% after rebooting this, going back to factory settings. Now, why is that? I'm going to venture to say that it probably downloaded some new software, or maybe it just reset itself to point at the constellations or something. Because remember, like I said, they are constantly working on this. They're launching new satellites. There's new constellations that are being put up there continuously. Just the other week, they got 50 or 60 new satellites launched up into space. Firmware updates, software updates, maybe the ground station that you're currently using has changed because now there's a closer ground station to you. Also, your ping or your milliseconds of your ping might have been reduced. Whereas they started out, let's say at 60 milliseconds, and now you're getting like 30 milliseconds for the most part. That means most likely you have a closer ground station to you because the speed at which you're capturing the data from Starlink satellite is extremely quick. Most of the latency is happening on the ground from station to station as it moves the data throughout the internet. So I hope this has proven to be helpful for you. Going forward, do this reset. It doesn't matter if you're a Gen 1 or a Gen 2 user. Do this reset. They said that it works. I have found that it has worked. I've done it on multiple occasions now, and it just simply helps. So if this has helped you in any way, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with other friends and family, maybe colleagues that have or maybe want to get into Starlink. This will definitely help them out if they're having problems. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel as of yet, please do so. I do photo, video, as well as tech, reviews, how-tos, commentary, Starlink, all kinds of things. So subscribe and click this little bell icon over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be awesome. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for the end of the vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one.